there's going to be a couple of bills introduced. We have some freshman legislators that, was part of their campaign promise was that they were going to work hard for a right to carry. They replaced some Democrats, and they thought they didn't do enough, so they were going to they campaigned on it, and they were going to work harder for it. Representative Phelps is introducing one of the carry bills that we're going to work very hard on. And in the first 10 bills that were introduced in the House yesterday, 6 of them are ours. Mm-hmm. So we got an early jump on stuff. Some of the bills are preemptive bills that deal with undoing the Chicago ordinance and stopping Oak Park and a couple other municipalities from regulating guns at the local level. And we've been fighting an issue within the state police that the Attorney General thinks that the FOID card list should be released to the news media. Just like we've seen with carry lists across the country that have been printed, they're pushing something like that for our FOID card, and we filed a bill to make it clear that the FOID card list is not disclosable under the FOIA Act.
So, as always, a busy session coming up.
Oh, I anticipate it to be very, very busy for us. I think that we're going to have more than 20 bills filed in each chamber, serving to protect our right to keep and bear arms, and try to fix some of the other stuff that needs to be tweaked within the wildlife code. But if Chicago thought they were going to get a pass, I've got some news for them. They're not.
It was interesting because I know there were some changes in November, and Senator Dave Kohler, who's a supporter, I think that's how you say his last name, of concealed carry, he made an interesting point. He says, until you convince Chicago that this is something that will not cause the sky to fall, it will be a political stalemate. And I know the mayor's race is coming up in February. Rahm Emanuel's still leading the pack. If he wins, he's going to follow right, I'm sure, in the footsteps of anti-gun Mayor Daley. So, is the senator right about a stalemate?
Well, I don't think he is, because I think that the senator is looking at it from a small perspective, where we've been working with, our grassroots activists. We've been working with senators and reps on both sides of the aisle. We've been working with the law enforcement groups to kind of come to a bill that as many people as possible can agree to. So in the big picture, I've never been more optimistic that if we get it to the floor about getting the votes to send it to the governor. I think we got a better shot this year at reaching a number of votes to move something along as we've ever had.
Well, that is good news. And again, the grassroots gun owners, they got to do their job. And as soon as you guys give them the word and to contact their lawmakers.
Well, we just finished the opening of the new General Assembly, and
right.
The legislators are now on a 2-week break. I think it would be very important for NRA members and gun owners to contact their legislators, and primarily in the Senate, and tell them that they want to see a vote on right to carry this session. That we deserve, like many groups, to get a fair committee hearing and to have our issues heard on the floor and voted up or down. We'll go by whatever the vote is. If we win the vote, great. If we don't, we'll look at it and figure out how to pick up the votes we need. But to sit there and just deny us the ability to have a vote like they have in the past in the Senate, I just think is wrong. And that's where NRA members, especially those members who have Democratic senators, should be really contacting them and saying, hey, we deserve a fair vote. You just jammed an income tax through, in a matter of hours. How come you can find time to do that, but you can't find time to just give us our shot at it?
Absolutely. And switching gears just a bit, it's no surprise that we've got the usual characters, including Mayor Bloomberg and Dianne Feinstein and Representative McCarthy out there already using this tragedy in Tucson for their own political gains and saying, we need more gun laws. What are you hearing in Illinois about the impact this senseless shooting, my gosh, might have on legislation?
Well, you just had an article appear in today's Tribune from Steve Chapman that just kind of walks through everything and says this is a deranged individual who got his hands on a firearm. And if the cops and the educators and his family didn't recognize all the red flags and stop him, then what law do you think is going to stop him?
Absolutely.
And I think in my conversations with members of the General Assembly, the overwhelming majority of them have been, just about what do you know, what happened, what is there. And I think it's been largely informational. I've not had any indication that this is making people think twice about their positions, or, like when we saw after the Columbine shooting, there was a huge pushback. I think the overwhelming majority of legislators see that this is a deranged individual who needed some help, who methodically planned this out for some time and then carried it out, and that it isn't any more complicated than that. But the discourse that is going on around the country about pointing fingers at who's to blame, the anti-gunners have been trying to make hay out of some of Wayne's statements or things like that, or Sarah Palin's website. And it's kind of ironic that the Brady Group seems to forget that in 2008 they issued a press release about a mail piece that they put out in a couple of legislative districts attacking Republicans. And the very graphic they used was a set of crosshairs over kids sitting in a classroom.
As you said, it's ironic. They don't want you to know that. But
no,
but the political discourse, I mean, it has gotten outrageous. But you're so right. You got the antis and the liberals and the left saying and pointing their finger at everybody on the right, and they're as guilty if they want to say that as everybody else.
And I think it's what we always know. It's that they have lost the legal war with 2 Supreme Court decisions in the last couple of years. They have lost the legislative fight. I mean, they haven't passed a major initiative, except I think in California in the last couple of years. They have lost the public relations war because more people than ever say it's your right to own a firearm based on the Second Amendment and Gallup polling. So this is all they have left, is that tragedies like this, they try to resuscitate a failing movement. And I think there was even a piece on Salon.com about how that we have a grassroots movement, and the only thing they try to heap on is tragedies and the victims of those tragedies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, we'll see what happens, and it really is a tragedy. But as you pointed out, there is not one gun law, and everybody's already talked, that would have made a difference. It's a tragedy that happened, and we'll just have to see how things proceed with what the antis plan to do. Because you know what, the NRA and the grassroots gun owners, they're ready, and they'll do what they have to do to fight it.
Well, certainly, I've already seen. It's an absolute tribute to our grassroots activists. There's a forum called IllinoisCarry.org, and we've got members who are already helping to monitor bills that are being introduced, compiling a list of legislation, ranking legislation as good or bad, and they even live blog and track the daily sessions of the House and Senate. So, we have that members and activists that are that dedicated to protecting and restoring their rights here. So I'll put my money on them any day of the week.